The health tech space moves incredibly fast, right? But sometimes the marketing moves a lot faster than the actual science. So let's dive right in and break down a recent regulatory crackdown that you absolutely need to know about.
So here's the big question. Can your smartwatch measure your blood sugar without a needle? I mean, it sounds like absolute magic, right? You've probably seen the ads popping up everywhere promising this completely pain-free, needle-free way to just effortlessly track your glucose right from your wrist. And hey, for anyone managing their blood sugar day in and day out, that sounds like a literal dream come true. But we gotta ask, is it actually reality? Well, let's look at the numbers. Here is the exact number of non-invasive blood glucose smartwatches that are actually FDA cleared or approved today. 0. Not a single one. Let me just repeat that because it's so important. If a device claims to measure your blood sugar without a needle or without drawing blood, the FDA has absolutely not approved it, period.
Let's move into Section 1, the illusion versus reality, what the FDA actually says. As you can see, there is just a massive, massive gap between the tech fantasy we're being sold and the hard regulatory reality. On the one hand, you've got this incredibly slick, wildly persuasive marketing promising a totally non-invasive experience. No pricks, no blood, right? But then you look at the FDA's stance, and it is totally unambiguous. These products are not cleared, they are not approved, and they are not legally marketed in the US. Essentially, they are operating entirely outside the law.
Which brings us to Section 2, the real danger, why inaccuracy matters. Listen, this is so much bigger than just, wasting a couple $100 on a gadget that doesn't really work. It is a severe risk to your physical well-being. The FDA is literally warning us that these unapproved devices give inaccurate readings. And I want you to really think about what that means in practice. Imagine making absolutely critical, daily decisions about what you eat, or worse, what medication you take, based on numbers that are just entirely wrong. Acting on that kind of false data is incredibly dangerous, and it's exactly why the FDA is sounding the alarm so loudly here.
Okay, let's look at Section 3, the FDA crackdown, escalating enforcement actions. Because the danger here is just so high, the government actually had to step in. And it's really interesting to see how this escalated over time. If we go back to May of 2023, the FDA publicly came out and stated that these devices are not legally marketed. But a lot of these rogue companies just didn't listen. So the FDA kind of had to turn up the heat, right? By January 2024, they're firing off official warning letters, basically demanding that these companies stop selling their unproven devices in the US immediately. And finally, by June of 2024, they were forced to take direct, aggressive action against the gadgets that were still out there trying to bypass the rules.
So, what does this all mean for us? Section 4, the ultimate takeaway, what you need to know. Let's bring this all together right now so you are fully equipped to protect yourself and your family. The takeaway here is incredibly simple, but it is urgent. Number 1, do not use non-invasive glucose smartwatches or rings. Remember, like we said earlier, there are exactly 0 FDA-approved options out there. None. They are going to give you inaccurate readings, and because of those totally false numbers, they actively endanger your health. Frankly, it is just a crystal clear warning from our top consumer safety agency.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final thought to consider before you go out and make your next wearable tech purchase. Is health tech marketing outpacing the actual science? It's so incredibly easy to get swept up in these slick ads that promise us tomorrow's technology today. We all want the easiest solution. But when it comes to measuring something as absolutely critical as your blood sugar, we have to demand rigorous science over flashy marketing. So stay curious, stay informed, and always, always look a little closer at the science behind the screen.